as a high school student, math was never my strong suit, but I was homeschooled so that I would therefore be at the same rate as my peers, but I would be falling behind in terms of math, so I would just skim through the math books. But this ended up catching up to me, putting me even more behind my peers than I ever wanted in terms of math. Today I'm here to persuade you that children should be taught in the way that it seems fit for them in their own learning ways. And to find out a solution for this issue, we're going to go through the problem, the cause, and then end up with a unique solution. So let's dive right into the problem. Each child learns differently than the next child. Now, according to Education Central, January 22nd, 2019, bright students may struggle academically simply because concepts aren't presented to them in a way that they can understand. And you can separate individuals into 4 distinct categories based on how they best absorb the information. You can have a child who is a visual, physical learner and put them into a regular classroom that would be best for them to learn. But there can be audible learners that are also able to learn in a classroom setting, but not only classroom setting, but also excel in an online setting or anything that just has to do with listening to something. According to the Daily Gazette, March 12, 2015, we are one of the only first world countries that is committed to teaching every child. Categorizing every child into the same square peg is the wrong way to go. We should be as diverse as the population we purport to teach in order to do right by every child and truly not leave any child behind. Now, the second problem we have is that children aren't taught real-life common skills in school. According to the Daily Gazette on March 12, 2015, unless one is a mathematician or an engineer, no adult needs to know this either. These students need common sense, real-life, usable skills that they can learn to apply in their personal lives and their jobs. The reason I'm connecting the academic gap to the real-life skills is that there are 2 types of children in my eyes. One of them is better with street smarts and is able to learn better with the real-life skills. And then there's also one who's better academically and academically smart and is able to learn more in what the schools are teaching now, which is more academic leaning. Now let's take a look at our first cause. The first cause we have is the learning gap has now been expanded due to the coronavirus. Brookings, March 2nd, 2020, however, states, getting internet to the school is just one piece of the puzzle in this closing digital divide and growing homework gap, in which students lack residential and community access. Students today now have the option during this virus to either go to school and fully be in school or participate online or do a hybrid of both. Excuse me. So their parents are able to choose one or the other for them, and some kids who are more of the visual learners may have to stay home, and so this sport creates a divide between the children who are able to academically learn with the physical in the classrooms versus the ones who are falling behind because they're not learning the correct way in which they need. Now, according to USA Today, June 29, 2020, the older kids were saying, "This is hell. My kids feel isolated and they can't keep up. They're struggling with it, but like it or not, remote instruction and visual learning are likely to continue for millions of children this fall." Now, this is an issue for those who are physical learners, and some may even have to stay home, so this needs to be fixed. Now, my second cause is that teachers don't know how to teach ADHD or autistic students. Some teachers don't have those resources at their school. And on the Healthline, April 25th, 2018, it states, "In the earliest stages, it is not unusual for ADHD and ASD to be mistaken for one another. Children with either condition may experience trouble communicating and focusing. ADHD and autism are often seen as daydreaming, not being able to control your focus. These are often seen as the child has no self-control. Some teachers even see children with ADHD or autism not knowing they have it. They may think that this child is purposefully not paying attention when they're really just not able to control it. And that's one of the tendencies of ADHD and autism. They might get mixed in with a group of kids that purposefully don't pay attention, and they'll get the same punishment for being mixed in with that group. Now, a solution for these problems is what we're going to move on to next. A solution for the problems is trying to figure out what type of learner your child is. To better understand what schooling is best for them, and to let the teacher know what type of learner the child is. According to the Grade Power Learning, June 18, 2018, here are some study tips. Study tips for visual learners include creating mind maps, charts, and diagrams. Study tips for auditory learners are reading notes out loud and making up songs. Study tips for reading, writing learners are study notes that are written out by hand or a guide for studying. Study tips for kinesthetic learners are to create practice tests while studying and turn it into a fun activity for the child to do. And this helps the child to better learn the things that is given to them, to better learn their homework. These particular study tips are going to help them excel and get their grades up in school. You just need to find out what type of learner your child is. Now, the second solution I have is that if the parent is able to, I suggest homeschooling the child. Homeschooling a child really helps you understand more about your child and understand how they can learn and what is best for them to learn. Or maybe just talk to their teachers and see what their teachers can do. Maybe they can lower the homework they have. Maybe they can help to even incorporate some of those study tips into the classroom to help those students learn more and be better in the class, instead of just leaving it all to the parents. The teachers are able to help with this too. So you can figure out what is better for them. A fully online or a fully in class or a hybrid. Now, I tried to persuade you that children should learn at their own rate in order to fit their own learning ways, and we looked at the problems, causes, and provide a unique solution. So next time you see your child maybe struggling with something in school and not learning at the same rate the other children are, take a second to figure out what might be wrong and to remember what they may be going through. Thank you.